I'm telling you right now, be careful of the allure of a big turbo. Someone else is parting out their car. I get it. The 10th gen Honda Accord has been around for a little while now. People are moving on to other platforms. But this person just upgraded their turbo, just had a custom tune done. They've been working on this for years, all the modifications, well, maybe not years, and now they're getting rid of the car. Well, here's some good prices for some used modifications for the Toyota Supra, including an upgraded hybrid turbo, which is something I've been looking at recently. But again, this person just recently posted some dynographs of their custom tune on this pure hybrid turbo, and now they're getting rid of the car. And I get it, there's a lot of different reasons why someone would end up changing platforms or removing the modifications. I've seen this as a trend, that people will spend all this time, energy, money in upgrading their car. And whether it's the Supra or the Honda Accord, it doesn't matter. And especially once they get to a bigger turbo, they seem to sell the car soon afterwards. And for a while, that puzzled me. And maybe it's puzzling to you. You're wondering why that is. I have a theory. 2 reasons why I think a lot of people end up selling the car, moving on to a different platform, removing the modifications from their car soon after upgrading their turbo. There's certain individuals out there that enjoy the process of doing things, that are curious about researching, that are curious about making something their own and customizing. Changing the car, ground effects, color, vinyl wrapping, upgraded steering wheel, right? They're making the car their own. And same when it comes to performance modifications, that people enjoy putting the parts on the car, upgrading the parts. And for some of you, it's actually the doing of that. It is getting under the car, getting in that hood, and making the modifications yourself. Working on the car yourself, and then getting it on the road and seeing how it changes. However, you can only go so far, meaning there's only so many modifications, and once you've done everything you want to do to the car, you've come to the end of your road. You've hit the pinnacle. You've reached the end, the finish line. Start from scratch, start from new, move on to a different platform. It's not necessarily because people don't enjoy the car anymore, they enjoy the process. I like this turbo upgrade. I like the 271 Kuro. So it's a little bit bigger than an FK8 turbo, which means it's much bigger than the OEM turbo. However, it does drive differently than the Honda OEM. Honda Accord OEM turbo was impressive. And I really like this platform. We're talking about the 2-liter here. When I first got the car, like many of you, I'm sure, when I first drove it, I was really impressed by how much torque it had down low and how easy it was to break the tires loose and get the car going. And we've shown on dynographs that the peak torque is made way down low, around 2,000 RPM. But given that it makes all of its torque down low, it's a smaller turbo, and it does run out of steam higher up in the RPM. So if you're running a quarter mile, it's not going to run the quickest quarter mile, because as it's getting higher, 5,000 to 7,000 RPM, it just can't keep up. And that's why a lot of people will upgrade the turbo, is to make sure that they have that linear power delivery all the way through the RPM, and they're going to get quicker quarter mile times. Unlike other modifications, where you're adding a little power here, a little power there. Ethanol, you're raising the whole power curve up a notch. With an upgraded turbo, you are significantly changing the power delivery. And again, this is not necessarily just a Honda Accord. I'm using the Honda Accord as an example. This is definitely with the Mark V Toyota Supra. It is with any other turbocharged car that I have ever modified out there. So the fact that when you finally upgrade, when you upgrade your turbo, you are going to change how your car drives. So you may have much more peak power, much more peak torque, but it's probably going to be at a different RPM point. It's going to feel differently. It's going to drive differently. Reason number two, why I think most people end up selling their car, moving on to a different platform, removing their modifications shortly after they've gone to a bigger turbo. It's because they don't like it. I know, go ahead. Start hitting those comments below. They don't like it. I was there too. We tend to chase after power numbers. So we're looking at the peak instead of the average amount of power or torque around the RPM. We want to see how much more we can get out of that engine. And a lot of the times we neglect to keep in consideration how that is going to feel on the street. Where unless you're building a quarter-mile track car, that's where most of us are driving, right? On the street, you have your daily commute, you're on suburban road like this, you take it on the highway, it's just gonna change things significantly. So I think a lot of people will look at certain turbochargers out there, they see a quick graph, someone posts, hey, we just got this tuned, it's putting out, 450 wheel horsepower, yeah, it's great. Okay, that's only part of the story. The bigger part of the story is, how does that feel on the street? 99% of the time, it is at the expense of all your power and your torque down low in the RPMs where you're spending most of your time driving. So you get excited, you got the car tuned, you're pushing out all this horsepower up high, and then you drive your car and you're like, this sucks. This doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel fast. It doesn't feel good. And I've already noticed this even with this hybrid turbo. When I'm on the highway, I'm just cruising. I had the 10-speed automatic and it's in a high gear and I need to pass. When I had the Honda Accord OEM turbo, oh, easy. I give it a little gas, torque kicks in, I can pull ahead, no problem, no second thought. It's a lot of fun. Power delivery instantaneously. With this turbo, again, this is the 271 hybrid. This isn't even a big turbo compared to what's out there. There's a pause. I either have to purposely downshift with manual shifters to get the RPMs quickly, to get the RPMs higher up, so I have more of that power available, or I'm sitting here waiting until I get a little above 2,000 RPMs. So think about that. If you're considering upgrading your turbo, think about why you're doing it. I wonder if it's worthwhile to go back to the video I had done a while back in which I identified the top 10 turbo upgrades for the Honda Accord. And maybe I should do one for the Toyota Supra. But going back to the Honda Accord, and add some turbos that have recently come out, or at least come out since then, show some dyno graphs of that actual turbo applied to the Honda Accord, and compare that to the OEM Honda Accord dyno. So that way you can see how much you're gonna gain up top higher in the RPMs, and how much you're gonna lose low in the RPMs. And I think that may come as a surprise to some of you, but I think it may be worthwhile to see, to have that information before you make a decision of which turbo is right for you. So if you're interested, if you think that's a good idea, leave a comment below, let me know. But with that said, I think we're done for today. I want to thank you very much for joining, and until next time.